All right. How's everybody doing? Good? Good. Okay. All right. So some of the things from last week and the start of the season so far in terms of like evaluation, the run defense has really improved. We're excited about that. Excited about the guys in the middle. They've done a nice job with that, and they continue to do a nice job. Obviously getting KC really helps that out. Having 3 or 4 stout guys in there, so that's going to be a big challenge for us this week. We are playing against a team that wants to run the ball, with their quarterback and also with the halfback. So that's going to be a big challenge for us. And then first down efficiency was good, last week and has continued to improve throughout the course of the year. Again, that's stopping the run and stopping the pass in that first down area. So we've been more efficient there. And where we got to grow and where we got to get better is the cup tackling. That's the space tackling, having force, pursue an apex on that. And we have to do a good job with that. We've been working hard on that all week. And then third downs in the, in the field and also in the red zone. We have to do a good job of, getting off the field. Worked hard on it this morning, and obviously you have to have a good plan together for the players, and we have to win on the field, the practice field. And that's really all we have is what we do on the grass. So we got to do a great job with that today, winning those reps during practice, and then we'll win some more in the game. So that's a big part of it. And then in the red zone, you got to get off that field there on third down. So that's important to do that. You turn those, we call them 4-point plays. So it's turning them into field goals. So we got to get that done. We'll work on that started to work on it this evening. In terms of, Wanye, he'll be starting there for Hook, and he's done a good job. He came into the game last week, so we're excited about his opportunity. And in terms of Murray, we don't know yet. We're still working through it. We just don't know about that, and we're going to work through that as we go. Containing Justin Fields is the issue. He's a heck of an athlete. I was with him for a few years there, and he's a heck of a young man. And but man, he's got explosive ability coming out of there. I believe we led the league in rushing, and part of that was because of a lot of the scrambles out of the pocket. So we have to do a good job of setting up our defensive unit for that and for those scrambles that he does have. So with that, I'll open up to questions.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. In your experience as a coordinator, how do you draw that delicate balance to, I'm running my scheme, but I might have to change some things because of the personnel that I have?
Yeah, good question. With the it's been in and out consistency wise with the players. The guys have been hurt. Bland was down. Guys were coming back from injury. All those things, and it's nobody's fault. But that's what it's been. It's been some inconsistencies there in terms of having guys available. And you got to move your scheme based on what you have, and I think that's important for any coach to be able to do that. And certainly we got to do a better job in the pass game, but that's the reason for it.
Diggs yesterday had said he had talked to you about maybe we should play a little bit more man. How do you take those kinds of conversations?
Yeah, and I value everybody's opinion, and that's important that you do that as a coach, and you listen, and that's important that you do that too. But we're growing as a group. There's an improvement, in the play, and we just got to keep growing as a group.
Todd Archer with ESPN. You mentioned the third down. How much is that related to pass rush? I don't know if you break it down, third medium, third longs, third shorts.
Yeah, you look at those different margins that you want to look at. However you break down a team, if it's the third and 2 to 3, 4 to 6, 7 to 10, 11 plus, however you want to do it. Each team is different, but really it's about the rush, and then the coverage. It's always going to be that. If you're going to, deploy, 7 guys and 4 guys to rush, that's one thing. Or add a rusher from the second level. Those are all things that you move your pieces around, and we have to do a better job of that. Obviously it hasn't been what we need it to be, and we're working hard to do that.
Then with James Houston, his per play production, is he at what you want him to play, in terms of percentage wise, or can you give him more?
Yeah, we should probably give him more, right? I mean, he's done a great job with his opportunities he's had on the field, and he obviously a big time play last week before the half, in the 2-minute. So yeah, he's done a really good job for us, and he's been very productive. So I like where he is.
John Machota with The Athletic. J.W. and Clowney's work in that first game back, or first game with you guys, do you think it's going to stay pretty similar to that? And just kind of how did you evaluate how he played in that game?
I thought he did well. First time coming back, and didn't have a training camp, to get his body right. But he's played a lot of football. He's played a lot of football. I thought he had some good pressures, played the run really well, and he's done really good for us. And he's fits right in with the group. He's done a good job with that, and leading the young guys and helping the young guys too.
And then Donovan Ezraku, what did you like from Sunday night's game? And then what's the next step for him?
And I told him in front of the group, I love his passion. He's got great passion for the game. He plays with high energy. And for a guy that's not that big, he plays the run really well, and he's got some good pressures. So just about the passion, the enthusiasm that he brings, and the energy.
Nick Harris, Forward Star Telegram. What went into the decision to start with Maris Leofow and activate Damone Clark, put Shamar James, just the linebacker mix that you had on Sunday?
Yeah, we're always looking for the best group in there. So that's all based on practice. It's all based on what they do and how they perform. It's not about anything else than that. So those guys perform well in practice, and they deserve that opportunity.
And then Shadi had mentioned that Wanya's communication style is something that could really benefit this defense right now. How do you kind of believe that as well in Wanya's ability on the back end?
Yeah, he's been good. He's been good back there. He's got some good range. I think he can ball hawk, and his communication has been good. So him and then Dono and back there, and then working with the nickels and the corners. So that's improving day to day.
Got it.
Skyler Dixon with the AP. What's your take on how Shotty's handled his debut as a head coach?
Great. He's been great. He's been very consistent. Messaging's consistent. Been the same guy every day. Looking to help everybody that he thinks that needs to work and needs to help, and giving suggestions. I think he's been on point and been really good.
One of the first things, when we talked to you the first time when you came back, you said you'd be there, for him. Any sounding boards since you've been in that job?
Just some things with practice, here and there. If we're gonna, a couple weeks ago when we went to the overtime, and won the game, we just decided to go in shells, or walk through that particular week. But just stuff like that.
Tommy Arch, DallasCowboys.com. Matt, where have you seen Justin grow overall since you've been with him?
Justin
Fields.
Okay. He's obviously it's hard when you move from place to place, and you're learning different systems. I think that's always difficult. But he's doing a good job with, getting the ball out on the quick game. I think he's doing a good job with that. He's done a really good job of learning that new offense. That's a whole new thing for him. And, he's doing the best he can.
How difficult is it in kind of the practice parameters that you have today to be able to work on tackling when you can't be as physical and hit guys?
Yeah, you have to do it with the drill work. You guys see us out there doing on the mats and all that stuff, and I think that's important that you do that. And then the space tackling, you got to create that in your drill work. And then when you get to the team periods, we believe in putting your body on a guy and then punching at the ball every single time, and that puts you in a good position to tackle.
Babe Laufenberg, 105.3 The Fan, Cowboys Radio. I know you don't go back and look at other games per se, but on this one, is this a time where you'll show the film of Philadelphia and what Jalen Hurts was able to do scrambling, because they're kind of similar players?
Yeah, I think we learned some things from that game, in terms of containing a quarterback that can take off and run, and we've adjusted a little bit from that. And so you always go back and look at that. You're going to face those guys a lot now. During the course of the year, you're going to face them almost three quarters of the time. So you got to have a good plan for that. And this guy here is a special athlete.
Garrett Podell, CBS Sports. Matt, Trayvon talked about kind of positioning being one of the bigger, issues through the first 4 weeks. What all goes into positioning, and how do you feel like your secondary has been in that regard with your coverages?
Tell me what you're referring to from positioning.
Trayvon he said positioning was kind of the biggest thing that you guys had to work on defensively. He said just being in the right spots, positioning.
In terms of where he's located, or?
Just in general. He said.
Yeah, I would just say that, putting guys in position, and then getting lined up and getting ready to go, so the ball's ready, we got to be ready, right? So that's get your cleats in the grass and be ready to go. So that's the biggest thing, because the ready defense is a good defense, and I think that's the best way to go.
Christy Scales, 105.3 The Fan, Cowboys Radio. In regards to the Jets' new offensive coordinator, Angstrand, when you don't have a lot of product knowledge on a guy like that, other than these first 4 games, where do you go for research? Because even if this time with Detroit, I mean, that's a very different skill set and that he had to work with.
I think he's like, like any coach, he's working with his skill set that he has, at all the positions. And that's really all you can go by. You can go by that, and you can go in his past history, what happened, and, what he did in Detroit in terms of being the pass game coordinator. But that's really what you have to work from.
Joe. Joe Hoyt, Dallas Morning News. Justin Fields, obviously elite athlete, like you said. Do you guys have a scout team version of him, and just what are your thoughts on potentially spying?
We got Joe. Joe's a heck of an athlete, man. He is like a running gazelle out there. So he fits the bill pretty good.
When it comes to spying on a quarterback, is that something maybe that's similar to where you want to get pass rush with 4 guys and you don't want to have to blitz? Is spying kind of a emergency measure? Would you rather just have guys stay in the rushing lanes, or how do you approach that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of different ways that you can approach it, right? You can devote a guy, a 5th guy, and have a 4-man rush. You can do it with your 4 guys down there, right? And have different things that you can do there in terms of games and other things like that. But then you can rush 5 guys, so you got to fill the lanes. So there's a lot of different ways you can do it. We have those different ways, but it's important that we execute.
Yeah.
Brianna Aldridge, CBS News Texas. Going on the road and going against a team that is trying desperately not to be 0-5, does that change how aggressive that you have to be, or will it change how aggressive you have to be?
Yeah, we look at it that it's one opportunity for us to go out and maximize our execution and maximize this opportunity. And this is the NFL, right? So it's the old saying, it's any given Sunday, so we got to go out and play. They got good players. We got good players. We got to go out and play the game.
Nick.
Any fun memory you have with Justin Fields from y'all's time together? Anything that stands out?
Yeah, he's just a joy to be around. He really is. He's always positive, upbeat, always on to the next thing. Always looking to improve. He's the first guy in the building, last guy to leave. So he's a consummate pro.
I'll leave and finish up with Joe.
Coach, Ollie Jawad, DLS Cowboys. You guys have faced good receivers this year. You got Garrett Wilson now this week. Despite them being 29th as a passing offense, he's still 6th in receiving yards. What's different about his game? What's the challenge with him?
Yeah, just an elite athlete. He's got great stop and start. He's strong after the catch. He's good on the press. He's the total package. And, he's one of the best in the league. And he's an impressive receiver.
Matt, during training camp, the punching at the ball was very obvious from you guys on defense. It hasn't looked like it's been to that level so far in the regular season. Do you need to see more punching at the ball when you're tackling?
Yeah, we always want more, right? You never pass up a strip attempt, and our guys are working hard at it. We were really close a couple times last week. I think Bland had one, Maris had one. We had a couple close ones, and we got one. So it's important we just keep being consistent, keep working at it, keep pounding the rock, and it'll come out.